Pensacola 94.5 is locally owned by the ADX Communications Group. That includes News Radio 92.3 and AM 1620, Cat Country 98.7 and 1330 WEBY 99.1 FM. This means that we have the staff, the experience, and the generators to get you through the storm before, during, and after. We care, and we're ready because we're local. ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
ESPN Pensacola has you covered from the national and local levels. From Golick and Wingo to the Sports Drive, the Paul Feinbaum Show to talk football with Coach K, we have it all. It's the latest and best in sports talk radio, making us Pensacola's hometown sports network. ESPN Pensacola 94.5, also on HD Radio at HD2 98.7 WYCT, and streaming online at our website at ESPNpensacola.com.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 94.5 contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 are non-transferable, non-redeemable in cash, nor exchangeable for any other prize. ESPN Pensacola 94.5 prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning, and you must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
The most trusted name in the game is ESPN Pensacola 94.5, home to the Pensacola Blue Wahoos and UWF Argos football.
Welcome back. Glad you are with us. And let's check out Dan in Florida here on a Monday afternoon. Hey, Dan.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, we're doing well. Thank you.
Good. I just been listening, and I'm just a person that worked for the University of Michigan for 15 years. I don't know about Harbaugh. I don't know what he's got going for him, but I don't think he's going to answer you.
Well, no, we never thought he was. We were just having some fun. We thought if the guy had a sense of humor, which we knew he doesn't, if he had any ability to have fun, which we know he's never shown, that he would call us. But it's not a big deal. We're just celebrating Vanderbilt playing against Michigan, and I think Michigan has a great team. I'm not.
Who am I talking to?
Well, who would you like to talk to, Dan?
Well, I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter. I talk to Feinbaum, but I don't need to. I've been listening to him for 8 years or whatever it is.
Yeah, well,
but anyway, my
you were
proposal
talking.
would be,
well, hold on. You're talking to Paul Feinbaum.
Oh, I am?
Yeah, that's usually the way it works here. When you call the Feinbaum show, you talk to the
See, this
host.
is the first time I ever called. And I listened for, I'm 79 years old, and I get home I still
You're
work.
still young, by the way.
Yeah. And so I try to get home at 3 o'clock so I could see the program.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, I'm glad you got in. I was just kidding you about who you were talking to, but.
I see. But anyway, because you don't sound like Paul. But anyway, my thing would be, I don't know.
This is an imposter.
Here's my proposal.
Okay.
Because I am retired somewhat, but I still work. I would, and then probably not enough, but I would say if Paul would wear a Michigan shirt during his program after the World Series is over, Michigan wins, and if they lose, because I like Vanderbilt a lot. One of my best friends who passed away was a very big Vanderbilt supporter, and all of his two kids played for Vanderbilt. I'd give $1,000 to the Vanderbilt Athletic Club if they won. So that's
well, Dan. That's nice of you. By the way, I volunteered to go up to Michigan and wear a jersey. So I all he had to do was accept it and say you're on. There's no. We made it pretty simple for him. But again, it was a friendly bet. We thought we would make.
Oh
this,
yes. I don't.
Usually when somebody, if he had challenged us, we would have gladly accepted. This is not I'm not asking to meet Jim Harbaugh at a duel by the Hudson River. I mean, this is just a friendly conversation. Hey, thank you, Dan. I appreciate you calling. That really was nice of you. Brian is in Nashville. You're next.
Hey, Paul. How's it going today?
It is going great. Thank you.
I'm enjoying the conversation about Harbaugh. I'm a Vanderbilt alumnus, so I'm really enjoying the conversation about Harbaugh there.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to call in, but I was the one that called in about a week ago about the kidney.
Oh, yes, sure, Brian.
I think we should try to get into ante up and maybe even go for try to be a living donor. Maybe we could up the ante a little bit.
Yeah, that he might accept, because that involves pain. And listen, I would never ask. We have an hour and 9. I mean, I think it pretty much has to be done before the game starts tonight. Otherwise, it's. But if he wants to wait, that's fine. By the way, how are you doing?
Doing really well. I've actually talked to one of your callers a couple of times, Lee out of Indiana, and he has started the process over at Vanderbilt. So I had to call in jest in regards to Harbaugh possibly doing that as well for possibly a local Michigan resident or something.
Well, that is good news to hear. We're certainly pulling for you, and we obviously want to keep in touch.
I did have one other question in regards to the World Series. Did you happen to see the game on Friday night, Louisville versus Vanderbilt?
Yes.
Has there been anything else in the media in regards to the pitcher kind of mouthing at the camera in the 8th inning towards the Vanderbilt player?
Yeah, there was a lot made out of him. I mean, certainly the guy was pitching the game of his career until he opened his mouth, and he may never get his foot out.
Yeah, that's what came out the next day, that he maybe spoke a little bit too soon, and then Vanderbilt kind of tied up the score on him. So I was just curious if anything else.
Yeah, no, it was. I'm glad you called, Brian, and a lot was made out of it, but it's dissipated since they are long gone. Frank is in Chattanooga. You're on the air. You're next up.
Hey, Mr. Feinbaum, Frank Dye from the Unruly Dyes in Georgia.
I hear you.
Question. I'm going to change it. I want to talk about J.J. Holloman in Georgia. But
yes.
Let me ask you this, because I've been watching the show. Why doesn't Coach Harbaugh recruit right now instead of watch the Feinbaum show?
Well, I think he is recruiting. I mean, they are getting commitments as we speak. This is a big recruiting time, as you probably know.
Well, yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I just kind of find it funny that he's wasting his effort on a tweet with Mr. Feinbaum when Saban, Dabo, and Kirby are probably in jets and helicopters.
Yeah, well, I think. Listen, you're forcing me to defend Harbaugh. I probably will say he's out there recruiting as we speak. But one thing about recruiting, you're never that far from your phone.
So, there you go. Okay. A good friend of mine, high school and college, with an Alabama player, I mentioned John Clay, that you know. I called him on the phone shocked about J.J. Holloman, and I'm glad he's gone. You hit a girl, you're gone. I'm not defending him. But that happened in, like your earlier caller said.
Yeah, Frank, I agree. This happens at the top of every hour, but we run right into the top.
Imagining a better bank starts with looking at the savings rates most banks offer and saying, really? Capital One is building something better. You can open a Capital One savings account with one of the nation's best savings rates from anywhere. Like here, or here, or here. One of the nation's best savings rates. Opened online, at a Capital One location, or from anywhere. That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
For consumers only. Offered by Capital One N.A. member FDIC. Copyright 2018 Capital One.
O'Reilly. Have everything you need for your next oil change? Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and save on 5 parts of Castrol GTX conventional motor oil and a MicroGuard filter for $24.99. Plus, earn triple O Rewards points. Protect your engine with O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Hello, it's me, the designer jeans in your closet. The back of your closet. What am I doing here? Would you keep caviar in the back of your fridge with the ketchup and old milk? Yeah, I don't think so. So, what happened to us? I mean, have you seen my label? I used to summer in the Hamptons, and now I'm stuck behind a pair of sweats. Sure, I never really fit you quite right, and one of my pockets is so small you can't even squeeze your hand into it. But it's all about the look. And I look good. I need to get back out on the scene so I can be seen. You know, going to fancy parties, getting expensive iced coffees, Sunday fun days, okay? So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies, and rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, for a man age 45 non-tobacco user, it's $1 million of coverage at $75 per month, level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well. At Term Busters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call Term Busters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes for preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
Welcome to Moe's! Okay, hi, what are we doing today?
I need something that screams something fun. Nothing too on the face, nothing too off the face, but also totally hot.
So I have the perfect thing. It's the Moe's food mullet. You're totally business in the front, but tailgate in the back. It's a fat party. People are having fun. You know, snap. All your friends are going to be like, whoa, awesome setup. Everyone else is going to be all jelly, okay?
Just like a killer mullet, Moe's Catering will turn the back of your ride into a tailgate party that's sure to turn some heads. Just order ahead and pick it up on your way.
Moe's Southwest Grill, now open in Pace on Highway 90 next to Publix grocery store.
Business owners of Escambia and Santa Rosa counties, listen to this important message.
This is Jeffrey, the marketing consultant for ESPN, News Radio 92.3, and Talk Radio WEBY. I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people just like you increase their business traffic and drive revenue into their doors. My service works. I design creative, attention-getting commercials that get results. It works for them and will work for you. I know what you're thinking. No one listens to commercials, right? Well, you just did. Call me, Jeffrey, 262-6000.
He was a star quarterback at Pensacola High, played alongside Gator great Steve Spurrier, and rose up the ranks to become head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Now, he's talking football on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Coach K brings football to life year-round. The teams, the players, and the front office. Talk football with Coach K every day at noon on your radio. And Coach K live on Facebook and YouTube at ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brilliante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
I'm Jordan Glass with your sports update for ESPN Pensacola 94.5. For your Pensacola Blue Wahoos, they've been on the road the past few days, taking on the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp to get the second half of the 2019 season underway. And they won the first two, lost the second two. That does include the 7-1 loss on a Sunday. They'll be back at it with Game 5 of the 5-game series coming up later on tonight. Chris Garjola will have the call right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 at 6:05. You don't want to miss a minute of the action coming up tonight. Again, Blue Wahoo baseball coming your way later on this evening. I'm Jordan Glass with your sports update.
Run! Go! Get to the chopper!
Dropping Gannon, looking Gannon, throws up the middle. At the 40, Derek Brooks 30, Brooks to the 29, 20, Brooks all the way. Touchdown Tampa Bay. Derek Brooks, the dagger's in. We're going to win the Super Bowl.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket, and this time his name is Bubba.
Pitch on the way. Russell drives one in the air. Deep left center. That's back near the wall. It's got a chance. Grand slam. Grand slam, Addison Russell.
The new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
And Richardson breaks free on the sideline. End zone. How about that? Bama scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmitt Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And these them Louisiana, Pensacola guys, they looking crazy and all that.
Morris, blocked by the tight end Paul. That opens up the door. Breaking the Cambridge tackle. To the pylon. Touchdown.
Really nice effort there by Alfred Morris, extending that ball over the goal line.
Near side ball is that big game. Doug Baldwin's got a first down. And Doug Baldwin, 93 yards, now has back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. Reggie Evans, and he's going to get an ovation. Guy from Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and on Blab TV. I am Chad Brillante. Glad to be with you. Just like getting ready for the big game, hours of practice or the other thing, showing up to the ballpark like Matt Harvey after a golf round and running into the studio. But we've had some fun here today as getting everything situated. It's a Monday. It feels like a Monday.
Yeah.
Drove back from Destin, Florida. Was down there at the Emerald Billfish Classic. Wasn't on one of the nice boats and coming in and catching the fish. Was just actually there as the family was down there and born to run and having some fun. Got to enjoy a little time. They played Mary Poppins at the park yesterday with the family.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it. Of all the Disney movies, that's one I'm not really sure what's happening.
She's British.
She's British, yeah. There's big clocks named Big Ben. We know that, But
Umbrella can talk. That's about it.
Those big clocks don't get in trouble in Atlanta like some other ones, in Georgia at bars. But, when it comes down to Mary Poppins, I'd put that on my list. When you make like your top 25 in college football, or the best coaches, everybody likes to listen to sports. Mary Poppins is probably down below. It's at the bottom tier. Out of 32 teams in the NFL, it's like team number 30. You know what I'm saying for Disney movies.
I will say, look, I've seen the movie. I've seen the older movie and the new movie. And the new movies, it's all right. But I tell you what, the Pensacola Little Theater, I think August of last year it was late July or August of last year they did like the Broadway version of the musical. Fantastic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I went to another one they did over the weekend. Went to see Sister Act Saturday night. That was
awesome.
That was a lot better.
Let me put that on my list of things I have not changed my perception in seeing. Cool, awesome. All right, let's get to some of the local stories right there. The Pensacola Blue Wahoos start off 2-0. You can do it, and then 2 losses. But it's a long season. Second half tonight they'll be in action. Griffin Jacks. That sounds like somebody that would be in Mortal Kombat. Griffin Jacks. Finish him. From Air Force, right guy. Looks like an Air Force kind of guy. Looks like the guy you don't mess with.
His finishing move is throwing a grenade.
His eyesight gives you the whole exactly. His eyesight, like the Atlanta Braves minor league, over the top. The best rants should only be under 5 minutes, though. You know what I'm saying? Like I love a good rant. The sweet Lou Piniella kicking dirt, but let's keep them under 5. But he looks like the kind of guy that if you do get pegged at the at bat, you don't charge them out. Even if you're angry, be like, all right, I'm just gonna walk the other way, take my base. Blue Wahoos off to a 2-2 start here. Lost Saturday and Sunday to Jacksonville. They'll wrap up their series before heading home tomorrow. So we'll be out at 6 o'clock tonight for the Blue Wahoos game right there against the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. And then we will be back tomorrow at 6:35 as the Wahoos will return home for Fat Tuesday, Jordan. It's always a good time for Fat Tuesday.
Oh, absolutely.
As if you show your BMI index, you get a free triple cheeseburger and a large key lime pie shake.
Is that how they do
Oh,
it?
that's a
Okay.
different Fat Tuesday. Okay, never mind. Nachos and a loaded Twinkie, too, if you're one of the first 1,000. Looking at College World Series, it begins tonight. Story of two different sides. And I guess you can say, for our cheesy headline of the day, as we do with Printer Shred It, no anchors down in Ann Arbor tonight. Think about one.
I would.
You like that one?
Yeah, I'll go
No
with it.
anchors down in Ann Arbor. You have to say Ann Arbor quick, like it's Ann Arbor instead of the city. Sounds exactly the same. But tonight, the Vanderbilt Commodores, a heavy favorite. Now, Michigan is a team that has only trailed during the course of the NCAA baseball tournament for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And in baseball, remember, 10 minutes of baseball is about 13 to 14 seconds worth of actual action. Like a pitch, you're talking maybe at the most 30 seconds.
Right.
So for 30 seconds of actually the ball being thrown, they have trailed. Vanderbilt's a team, though, that has proven, if you just look at the David versus Goliath of record stories, you got a team that's been top 3 all season. You got guys like Kumar Rocker coming out there and throwing 19 strikeout no-hitters, and it's a team that has always been the favorite. Look, they weren't the favorite according to Vegas. They were actually third in line, but we picked them at the beginning. And you can jump on ship, here on this. But we collectively, I know sometimes you're like, sounds good to me, but I went with Vanderbilt, and we went with Vanderbilt.
Yeah, the pitching staff's just way too good for them to I think anybody that went against Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt. Yeah, so talk about saying things so fast. I think you get a little pre-workout.
You're excited. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to be vibrating.
Makes you speak other languages. Okay.
Yeah. But I think anybody that went against Vanderbilt either really hadn't been paying attention to the team or just didn't know much about this team, because the pitching staff way too good, and it's not just Rocker. It's every single guy on that staff can go out there and put out that type of performance. So, yeah, Vandy was going to pitch their way to a national title this year, no doubt.
That game's going to be at 6 o'clock tonight on ESPN. Some of the other news, Team USA getting it done. Megan Rapinoe, you can do it with 2 goals, not one, but 2. 1 in PKs right there, as it was a true Spanish conquest today. A 2-1 win over Spain, and one now that she snagged a pair of goals and is now taking United States to an undefeated mark, where we're now going to move on, I believe, to the quarterfinals against France.
On Friday.
The hosts right there. So, nobody eat crepes coming up here next Friday. I'm just saying, it was a nice win. We were watching in studio.
We were
sitting there and watching that as they were able to get it done with the PK. I know in soccer, for all the Spanish fans, and I heard there's a few that like soccer, but for all the Spanish fans out there that were watching this game, you always feel like you get a little slighted when you lose in a PK. Not in a after a certain amount of minutes PK.
Right, yeah.
Not the Roberto Baggio as a little kid watching him miss the goal and watching a celebration of Brazil. But the little things about you feel like you've played an entire 90 minutes to have something that is just usually what is a great acting scene from like a Denzel Washington, Tom Hanks, Juilliard school where a guy flops, barely gets touched, and then you're like,
let's be real. That's exactly what it was today.
Exactly what it was. Look, and this isn't New Orleans Saints massacre on the non-call on pass interference. That's the difference. If you want to compare the two, you can have a flop be called and everyone's like, well, it did happen. And in football, you can have an onslaught massacre not be called and cost a team a game, or usually just one idiot ref. But overall, it was a nice win. We'll take it. That's that's the theory as a Patriot fan with a deflated football onset here. We will take it. That's the motto. That's the school yearbook in high school. We will take it. What about the deflated footballs, man? Or what about, where's those tapes? They're going to get you. Arlen Specter still after you out there in Pennsylvania. What about that catch? Jesse James caught that ball in Pittsburgh. The stupid rule, man. We'll take it. What about Marshawn Lynch not getting the football inches away from the end zone, man? Pete Carroll's a moron. You're down 28-3 to Atlanta. How do you not just run the football out and win the game? You go backwards twice and then you kick it. I mean, what the tuck rule? What is this stupid call, man, in Oakland? We'll take it. And so, you know what? As a Pats fan throughout the years,
we'll take it.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly what we'll do as Team USA.
We're on to France.
So many teams like, how dare you take our nation's team and put it in the same sentence
they
as
are
yours.
The Patriots, I mean.
And I guess our owner says he'll take it as well. But he's not going by the theory I'm going by. Looking at some of the other things going on here locally, Dr. James Andrews was honored in 2019's Fitness Right There Achievement Award for everything he has done in advancing and promoting physical activity, fitness and sports, and nutrition nationwide. If you don't know, we've had a number of the doctors down there, Dr. Ants, Dr. Jordan, I think about 6 or 7 different doctors on this show, and talking about some of the things they do for repairing cartilage and the things they're doing with stem cell research. It's truly incredible. This is stuff above my pay grade, above what I know in science. I'm so glad when you have those guys. Getting to spend 3 months in the NICU, watching my daughter survive right there and being with family, you realize that there are so many people out there, and for the Dr. Amjads and Dr. Wideners and the people out there listening, just so many people that are so important more than what Big Papi's doing in Dominican, or the little things that, even though as a fan, you're excited about your team, but when it truly, as you get older and you have families and things to pay like mortgages, other things become ancillary. And in this case, to have a Dr. Andrews right here, it's not about if your son breaks his ankle or needs a little bit of repair, go for physical therapy. It's about the things that he is doing right now to change the future of a game where maybe a guy could never play again, but they figured out a way where they could repair tissue and bone that they could never do before. And that's incredible to think that we've got those doctors right here in our own backyard.
No, we do, and it's phenomenal. And he's taken this the whole, it's leaps and bounds from when he started.
Oh, yeah.
And he's been a big part of the way things have changed. Like you said, he's been a guy that's really kind of come in and changed the face of those types of procedures, and where, a surgery now that's not as invasive, where they just, it's a little cut maybe this big, and they stick a camera in there, and it's got a little tool on the end, and they can fix a torn meniscus like that. Back when he first started, that's probably you got to crack your knee open, and it's, now a surgery that's 2 weeks to rehab and get healthy from it. Back then it was probably 6 months. So yeah,
it's always good to have him right there. And then Fred Robbins working over at Exos. At one point, Fred, a good friend and a guy that does so much with Mr. Robbins' neighborhood. He's going to be a big part of ESPN as we continue to develop shows and throughout the years.
Last week, speaking of Andrews
yes, that's
Institute,
right.
Yeah,
it was Brandon Jacobs too was there, and some of the NFL players, former Auburn Tiger as well, and just some great guys. And one of those kind of guys, you can't miss him. Big teddy bear, 6'5", 330 pounds. He just reminds me of his Giants beating the Patriots and crushing the undefeated season and watching Mercury Morris do that silly dance. But overall, it was one of the best Super Bowl upsets of all time, so I'll hand it to him. I just never will send David Tyree a postcard. Looking at the New Orleans Saints. Now, you want to talk about having to deal with something of pain and agony to get back in weight. Like if you put it at a level of where somebody has to, how badly somebody is hungry for something. I feel like the New Orleans Saints, after what happened last year with one of the most just ridiculously horrible calls in the history of the game, it's the worst call I've ever seen in sports history. I mean, by far, I think, out of all because it can't get worse than that, right? Right. It's like if there was an accident you saw on the report today, like all of a sudden you turn on or you're on News Radio 92.3 and like a report. Guy's driving 130 backwards in his car, in a clown car. He has a blindfold on and he's run over 50 kids trying to leave school. Like, you're like, oh, crap, man. Oh, yeah. And he had a whole entire bottle of 4 different types of whiskey, all empty right by the wheel. Be like, okay, it's getting worse, but it didn't have to. Like, that's pretty much what this is. Like, it can't get any worse than what the Saints dealt with. Like, you can't go to them and like oh yeah, you had a bad day? Those like, well, I woke up this morning and my coffee spilled all over my brand new t-shirt, and then my tire was at like 28 PSI, and I know as a Pats fan, and then like none of this, like you're going down a path where it's like, okay, you had a bad day, well, it's a case of the Mondays for you, and everybody sits around and does these jolly little matters. The Saints walk in as the big dog and be like, everybody shut up.
Right.
We're the ones that got screwed. End of discussion. Worst call in the history of sports. Boom. And they're right. They were heading to the Super Bowl. The difference, too, with the year before, Stephon Diggs. And all you have to do is keep a guy inbounds and the game's over. On like the ESPN on your screen when you have like the percentile chance of winning?
Yeah.
It's like 99.99. If they could keep showing nines within your screen, you have to do it panoramic sideways on your phone so you can get all the rest of the nines in there. And they lost that game on the final play. So 2 years in a row of suffering. And one guy that they need to bring back, obviously it's Drew Brees is coming back. But Cam Jordan talked about a guy today in Michael Thomas. And just like the movie Rounders, paid the man his money because, and I'm not going down a Russian accent today, throat sore, but I'm telling you, it is one of these that is, he is a top-tier receiver. He's worth the money. He's not because of the system. And as we age towards an NFL that is about throwing the football first, these guys are precious. And here's two things that are the most important things to take away from the Michael Thomas discussion. He's got great chemistry with a quarterback that can lead you and is hungry and could have a couple other Super Bowls to his name and is running out of time, but the team's not getting worse. And second, he leads the NFL in catch-drop ratio, which is pretty important. It's like a guy in baseball. If you don't always bat, if you're really close to the lead at like a 320 average, but your on-base percentage is like 600, which is like something Barry Bonds tried to get to when it was unfair and his head looked like the Woody Woodpecker float. But at the same but when you look right there at somebody that's right in the vicinity of a record, but then they just are in something that's important, way beyond. Michael Thomas was up there with all the Julio Jones, all the A.J. Greens, all the guys over the last couple of years. He actually set an NFL record for the first 3 years of his career. He has more receptions and more yards than any guy through the first 3 years of his career. That's decent, right?
Yeah.
That you're the best in the NFL history through your first 3 seasons, not too shabby. But the difference is he's not only making this happen as a guy that everybody knows, clearly the number one. Think about it. Outside of Alvin Kamara catching a lot out of the backfield, who would be the number 2? There's no more Willie Snead.
No.
Brandon Coleman's gone. The tight ends and Kobe Fleeners and those guys never really worked out and they got hurt. So who would be their number 2?
You got to go with Michael Thomas, yeah.
I mean, outside of who? Ted Ginn? I mean, that's what I'm saying. So you're looking at a team right there that clearly has a number 1, and they need that number 1 to consistently be the man. And that's the difference, is he is that important to his team, and he needs to get paid as it. And I'm not saying that the wide receiver position is the number 1 spot you pay, but Jordan, Michael Thomas is a huge part, and he lives up to the expectations. And as we continue to go down a path of more of a pass-happy NFL, even the running game has become an extension of the pass game. That's something, or it's going to be completely just moronic if the Saints don't pay Michael Thomas.
Yeah, you said it. He doesn't have to be the highest paid player on the team, but he better be their highest priority right now because we've talked about it several times on Talk Football. The Saints really don't have much of a passing game outside of Michael Thomas, and you just alluded to it a moment ago as well. They need to make sure he stays there because if he leaves and goes somewhere else, they're going to be in big trouble because then it is basically just Alvin Kamara coming out of the backfield, and that's not enough to win. If Atlanta's offense is back on par to where they should be, Alvin Kamara coming out of the backfield is not going to be enough for New Orleans to even win that division, let alone win a Super Bowl. So they need to pay Michael Thomas. They need to listen to Cameron Jordan. They need to give this man whatever he wants. Like Cuba Gooding Jr., show me the money.
There's only so many Bourbon Street putting your hands in the air going, yeah, for Taysom Hill's Wildcats that you can take. He's a fan favorite. Everybody loves him, but you can only take that so much when you don't have a 50-yard play down the field to a guy like Michael Thomas. When we come back, we're going to talk a little more about one story where, well, nothing like calling out the team that over the last 10 years has not been an underdog about being weak. We'll tell you why right here on the Sports Drive ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and on Blab TV.
At Indeed, we believe a resume is a great way to see an overview of a candidate, but you're not hiring a resume, you're hiring a person. That's why Indeed offers tools that help bridge the gap between a candidate and the resume, like skill tests, which let you actually see a candidate's abilities in action to make sure they're a good fit for the job. See beyond the resume with Indeed. Experience Indeed for yourself today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting at Indeed.com/promo. Terms and conditions apply.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there.
We are broadcasters, your home for Pensacola sports, ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, CraneWorks. The CraneWorks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give CraneWorks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call CraneWorks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
Sizzling summer savings are here at Bob Tyler Toyota with special low Bob Tyler prices on new 2019 Highlander LE, just $249 a month. New 2019 Tacoma Double Cab SR5, just $229 a month. Or the new 2019 Tundra Double Cab SR5 4.6-liter V8, just $289 a month. Check out over 10 acres of pre-owned inventory, including Toyota-certified vehicles. Get to Bob Tyler Toyota while the savings are hot. The approved credit, 12,000-mile, 36-month leases, $49.99 cash or trade equity down, excludes tax tag, registration, title, zero security deposit. All prices include $899.50 dealer fee. Dealer for details expires 8/31/19.
You can always count on Miller High Life, the champagne of beers. Always crisp, always easy drinking, always just right. The perfect balance of flavor and refreshment since 1903. Welcome to the High Life. (2019) Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Celebrate responsibly.
Business owners of Escambia and Santa Rosa counties, listen to this important message.
This is Jeffrey, the marketing consultant for ESPN, News Radio 92.3, and Talk Radio WEBY. I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people just like you increase their business traffic and drive revenue into their doors. My service works. I design creative, attention-getting commercials that get results. It works for them and will work for you. I know what you're thinking. No one listens to commercials, right? Well, you just did. Call me, Jeffrey, 262-6000.
And welcome back. Sports Drive with you right here. ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Blab TV. Chad Brillante with you here alongside Jordan Glass. And looking forward to tonight. I'll be sitting around getting ready to tape a fun show. It'll be shown on PBS here locally. Jeff Weeks does a great job as always. And I'll be sitting around with Paul Chestnut as well as Bill Valona and a guy in Ray Palmer that I have a lot of respect for, executive director of Pensacola Sports and a friend, and people I've worked with in the business. Look, when you live in a city like Pensacola, you get to know the people real quickly. You know, the Dan Shugars, and getting a chance to work with everybody here and working with a number of different stations, simulcast with Blab TV, everything that we do, just getting to work with them. And, you know, you become friends. You're at the events, Jordan. We get to eat a lot of media food and sit around and talk about the teams and what's going on. But we do truly have a great group of people working here that truly care about the city, and it's good to see.
It is. It's great to see, and I'm looking forward to watching that whenever it airs. Yeah.
That's right. I will let you know.
All right.
Looking at one of the things that was pretty ridiculous, by the way, there was a guy out there who feels like he's more entitled than you because he is an Emory professional businessman named Mike Lewis, who had his list of the top 32 fans in the NFL released. Why do people need to flock to this? Oh, please. Because he put it into three main criterias: fan equity, social equity, and road equity. Let me explain that last one. Fan equity is how well fans back their words with money signs. Social equity is a team's social media reach. How many people are out there talking to them, really interacting with the team and wanting to learn more. Road equity measures how a team draws on the road, adjusting team performance. This is where that sort of, to me, takes away from the advantage, because I don't think that is fair. Because if you put this into a college football category, the SEC would not be, a team like Alabama probably wouldn't be in the top 10 if you looked at this criteria, because they might get a big A and a big A, and I'm not talking, Big Al on this one, a big A on both of those. And then when it comes to road equity, they would probably get a D or an F. Because I lived in Las Vegas, in Boston, and in cities even like Orlando, where you don't get too many Roll Tide. Not at all, really. And it's not because there's anything wrong, because not too many Alabama people are going to venture out to somewhere in the middle of Fargo, North Dakota, just to say Roll Tide. They might if they're at the bar, but not just for the fun of it. UCF puts billboards in Tuscaloosa. They're not going to do that. They're not going to venture out. So in this case, based on this theory, what they're saying is if we made a list of the most best fans in sports, Alabama would be in top 10, and that really, to me, would not be fair. What do you make of the measurements? Because they had, on this list, Kansas City Chiefs, a respectable team, right? You would think they have a great – Arrowhead is rocking as one of the loudest stadiums. Jordan, where do you think they finished?
I'm going to say that Kansas City, because they do not travel whatsoever. I'm going to say Kansas City came in the bottom half.
31st.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Kansas City is not behind the Jacksonville Jaguars on fan base. But this list, so, sir, you can take this list and whoop, put it right back to your Emory degree, because I'm telling you, that is not a good way. If you're going to judge something, do not judge it in a way where other people can't relate to it. Because if you're going to say the best fans, to me, if you have 1,000 fans in one area, or if I put one fan across the country, but they're 1,000 strong, and one of them would show up to the dive bar, and this list is going to give that as an equal group, no dice. Not buying it. They're actually shocking news. Who do you think finished number one?
Shocking. Let's see. Number one. It's New England, probably.
No, Dallas. Patriots were 2.
Yeah.
Dallas was 1. Patriots were 2. Eagles 3. Giants 4. And Steelers 5. But I just don't think if you're going to do a list, they had the Seattle Seahawks sitting at 15. To me, Seattle's some of the most loyal, loud, show up in their area. But you don't get too many Seattle Seahawk fans everywhere you go.
And see, here's another thing that I think kind of eschews the whole travel thing. All those Giants fans and even the Patriots fans and basically any Northeast team, a lot of those people move down to Florida. So if they're playing the Dolphins, that's actually probably where those people live. They're just going and cheering as a Giants fan or as a Patriots fan. Same case for the Buccaneers or the Jaguars or even Atlanta. I think that it's a little bit more so that those people from that area that are right there around the top, they migrate down here, and then you've just got Dallas fans everywhere. Dallas, you throw a rock, you hit a Dallas Cowboy fan.
It just feel like, you're right. And I feel like the way that this was set up as best fans, it doesn't really relate.
Right.
To me, it should have been called where in the world are your fans? With like the little, take the little needle pricks and boom, boom, boom. Because, there are more Dallas fans popping up. But just like I said, for a fact that wherever you go, you're going to get Notre Dame fans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're the number one because anyone Irish, even if you're not a football fan, are usually, and, if you're a fan of Notre Dame, there's plenty of them. Everywhere there's Notre Dame fans. Some schools, because of Texas and the brand it was, travels a lot further. They have their own network that people watch. Michigan and Ohio State have been around for a very long time. You get Alabama fans, but more people in the Northeast travel to cooler weather than Alabama fans. Not too many people, if you drive right now all the way to Tuscaloosa on your stop, and if you stopped at every gas station, stop for one of those $5.99 lunches at the Cracker Barrel, and you headed on over, you did everything. No matter what you do, if you were on your way and talked to all these Alabama fans, there'd be very few that would say, oh, you know what, I'm about to go to my house up there in the Hamptons next week. It's going to get a little cooler in the summer. Or I'm going to go ahead and let's plan my trip out there to Banff, Colorado. Banff, Alberta. Let's go to Banff, Alberta. Some people do that, but most people within the South stay in the South. Yeah, and if they travel, they're going to go to Gatlinburg, or they're going to go up to the mountains in West Virginia.
Go even further south, like on a cruise or something.
Or they're going to create an anthill in the mountains and have fun with it. But they're not going to go ahead and most people, more people from the Northeast come down here to the warmer weather that way. So that's it's a fact, and it pretty much to me is an unfair way of looking at things. Speaking of criticizing with fans have been criticizing the conference schedule of one Alabama, and the ESPN ranking had them as one of the top 10 easiest out-of-conference schedules. Once again, to me, to put this in terms, it's like walking into the 3-story mansion and saying, I didn't love the wallpaper in the bathroom. Do not take a few games of a non-conference schedule, which is, Duke, New Mexico State, Southern Miss, and Western Carolina. But here's the thing. If you sampled out and changed that with Wisconsin, Miami, Northwestern, and Washington State, guess what changes? Just the uniforms they play. The record's still 4-0. And the thing is, for a team like Alabama, having to still play against South Carolina, Mississippi State, Auburn, Tennessee, LSU, Texas A&M. Probably then Auburn, one of the Oklahoma, Ohio State boys of the world, and then play Clemson in the national title. So it's all boom or bust anyway. It's not like they're that worried about one of these games in the regular season because the system that is in place right now is under the prove-it-to-me factor. And Alabama has not been one of those teams when they get there, they have failed to prove it. Now, getting beat by Clemson is something a lot of people would, but they have not failed to prove that they deserve to be there. I as a UCF grad and somebody that will, celebrate our fake national championships in our T-shirts and have ladies in Alabama gear stare me down at Publix where shopping was supposed to be a pleasure because I had that shirt and then she hit me with her cart and she was 70.
I think that same lady almost ran me over today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's get her. Yeah. Hopefully we're getting the same one. There's a law now on how much elderly abuse. I'm just going down a path here. But when it comes down to this case right here with Alabama, the non-conference schedule, and Greg Byrne, the athletic director, had a great line about, look, we have a home and home against Texas lined up in a couple years, West Virginia, Notre Dame, and Oklahoma. They've already lined up with the big dogs. They try to play teams. It wasn't their fault, Louisville, and Bobby Petrino's bike was going back into the gutter, or all the things with when they played against Michigan and they weren't that good, when they beat them 51-3, or USC. Look, they ventured out. A couple years ago, they beat Florida State down in Orlando. They're trying to take somebody else on. That's not fair to say. I don't think any Alabama person right now is going to sit there and say, we're scared to take you on.
Also, I think you look at their schedule right now, and I think a lot of people last year looked at it and they saw the Citadel on their schedule last year, and they go, are you kidding me? You're playing the Citadel?
But everybody does
that. That was a 10-10 game at halftime. I know Alabama came out and ended up winning that, 52-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
But still, it was a close game throughout the first half. So just because it looks like it's going to be an easy game for them, not necessarily going to be an easy game. I do believe last time Southern Miss went to Bryant-Denny in Tuscaloosa, they actually almost beat Alabama. So, and I think that was back the year before Nick Saban became the head coach. So yeah, just because they have these teams on their schedule doesn't mean it's automatic easy games for them. And Nick Saban's going to be sure that they treat this team just like they would an Ole Miss, a Texas A&M, or a Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying with the Citadel being tied at half there, but to me, that's like saying, bless your heart for marrying that blind girl and be like, yeah, but she's a supermodel that works at Victoria's Secrets. Be like, but bless your heart. You went out, you're helping her around town. Be like, geez, okay. You were tied 10-10 at halftime. Final score, you won by 40. I mean, it's a full piece of the pie. I could give you a really good, Ole Miss, man, 70-yard touchdown, was up 7-0, crushing them early, winning 61-7. You know what I'm saying? I understand they were tied at Citadel, and that became a headline. But it's if they would have won 27-10, we would talk about that a little more. But they end up winning by 40. They got their act together.
That's true. Yeah.
I'm just going back and forth on that. I know what you're saying there.
You had a great point on the fact. Look, even if they did replace New Mexico State with Wisconsin and Southern Miss with, let's say, Penn State. Mm-hmm. Which we've seen Penn State. They did a home and home with Penn State a couple of years ago. Penn State came to Bryant-Denny. They went up to Happy Valley. So the result would still be the same. Alabama would.
Yeah, look, and New Mexico State
40, they would still win. Yeah.
New Mexico State almost just beat Auburn in March Madness.
That's true. Yeah, in March Madness.
No correlation, folks. When we come back, we're going to get to more college football. College baseball World Series tonight as Vanderbilt taking on Michigan. Two story programs. A lot has been made of the news about scholarships in baseball and more. We're going to talk with Brent Barrett of Lindy Sports. The magazines are out, College Sports Notebook, and more when we return right here in the Sports Drive.
It's almost time for Sertoma's 4th of July celebration in downtown Pensacola. Watch Old Seville Square come alive this 4th of July with free activities starting at 11 a.m., including a children's area with inflatables, rock climbing wall, pony rides, face painting, live entertainment, food, and much more. Don't forget the amazing fireworks show over Pensacola Bay at 9. Sponsored by Skanska with a perfectly synchronized music broadcast on Cat Country 98.7. Presented by the Law Office of J.J. Talbot. For more info, visit PensacolaFireworks.com.
Peanuts or pretzels?
Hi, I'm craving tapas.
In Coach?
Some mixed olives, those tiny meatballs, ooh, and tortilla española.
So, peanuts or pretzels?
3 times the points on travel makes everyday experiences feel luxurious. At Navy Federal Credit Union, our members are the mission, which is why the flagship credit card gets you 3 times the points on travel and 2 times the points on all other purchases. Visit NavyFederal.org to learn more. Navy Federal Credit Union, open to the armed forces, the DoD, veterans, and their families, insured by NCUA.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Our Pensacola Wahoos are back for another season, and with the new season comes some fresh and new changes. Our Wahoos are now the new AA affiliate of the Minnesota Twins, and they have a new broadcast home here in Pensacola, right here at your hometown station for hometown sports, ESPN Pensacola 945. Catch all the Wahoos action from home and away with Chris Garagiola. Wahoos baseball presented by Denny's on the new official flagship station for the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 945 and ESPNpensacola.com.
Introducing. Nah, not big enough. It's the brand new. Nah, still not big enough. Introducing the brand new French-inspired topped with fresh fruit crepes lineup, only at Denny's. Yeah, that's better. There's the new banana chocolate hazelnut crepes, the banana berry caramel crepes, and the strawberry vanilla crepes, made with fresh strawberries, strawberry sauce, and vanilla cream. Fresh fruit, French, and delicious. Come try all three. See you at Denny's. Price and participation may vary. Limited time only.
Let's think about customization presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Liberty Mutual customizes your auto insurance so you only pay for what you need. So why aren't more things in life customizable? Like, why do I have to pay a full gym membership when I don't even use all the equipment? Like the rowing machine. I don't know about you, but I'm not doing a ton of manual lake travel these days.
Go to libertymutual.com for a customized quote and you could save.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Coverage is underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer.
And welcome back. Sports Drive with you right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. I am Chad Brillante. Hope you enjoyed your weekend as the College World Series will get set to go. Vanderbilt and Michigan. Vanderbilt, a team in the top three almost all season long, representing the SEC. There was 4 that went in from the SEC, and now down to 1 as Michigan has been really, as we talked about Florida State and Mike Martin, an incredible run, 42 seasons with 40-plus wins. And it looked like it was going to be that storybook kind of that style, but end up losing. Michigan was one of the teams that knocked them off, and Michigan has only trailed for 10 minutes total. And in baseball, that's like 5 pitches. So overall, an incredible job by Michigan. It's going to be fun tonight as 2 of the best will battle it out on the mound. Looking at what's going on right now in some of the other headlines, we talked about Team USA taking it to them. 2-1 victory earlier today as Megan Rapinoe was able to get 2 goals and get the job done right there for the women that will go on now to the quarterfinals to take on France. So we just really dominated Spain. It was a Spanish conquest. And now we'll move on to take care of France. And the hosts, there's some things in sports that you assume are going to happen. And I don't think it makes you ignorant or oblivious. It's just something you've gotten so accustomed to that you expect it to work. Like if you see a big pickup truck on some extra, putting them up there on some of those Bigfoot tires, they got mud all over the truck, the truck bed right there. They got one of those deer stickers in the back. They got one of those Salt Life going on, one of those things. The big Confederate flag in the background, and you drive by that window. Woo-hoo, get her done. And all of a sudden you drive by that window and it's like a 90-year-old grandma with like a hat that's like a rainbow-colored hat. You're laughing because that would be so weird. You're not assuming, and it's okay to judge some things. It's okay. That doesn't make you ignorant. Be like, well, I was very surprised that 90-year-old woman right there from Brazil was driving that pickup truck. Like that doesn't make you a bad person for not thinking that person was doing that. If you saw a bunch of bodybuilding muscle guys sitting in the front row of Dumbo the movie and there's no kids, They're all tatted up like they're leaving a bike gang. Think about it. Then picture this, like a whole group of like biker jackets right there in the front, all cut off sleeves with like the eagle on their shoulder, and they got no kids, no families, and they're all watching Dumbo the movie.
This movie better be good, Ricky.
If he picks on that elephant one more time. But there's some things in life you just assume is the norm.
Yeah.
And for us, one of them is that Team USA is going to win in women's soccer. They're going to win women's soccer, and that just seems like, hey, when they get there, we are better. Just like UConn, we believe, is going to win in women's basketball. Now, there's teams like Baylor, South Carolina. Lady Cox have been pretty good lately. But overall, you talk about UConn women's basketball, you assume Gino's team's going to win. Same thing with USA women's soccer, but it's not going to be easy because France is a very good team, and there's some teams like England and a couple others at the top that are going to be pretty tough to beat.
Yeah, and that's the problem is that if Team USA does beat France on Friday, then waiting for them in the semifinals, it's either Norway or England. So it's going to get really tough from here on out. And, I mean, as you would expect it would, as you get closer and closer to the final game, the championship game of the World Cup, it's going to get tougher and tougher. But they played a great game today, and looking forward to the one on Friday.
Well, we do have Brent Baird. He said call the cell, so here's the deal. We're already close to the segment, so we'll call him. We'll break early on this one and give him some time for the final segment right there. Brent has been on for about 12 and a half years, so unless he was saving another rabbit from a pool, I believe he's ready to go. He usually has been pretty reliable. It's like with Gene Stallings last Wednesday. I sort of joked on the break because I said I guarantee it did like the Men's Warehouse guy. You're going to like this call. I guarantee it. And the difference was he actually did not pick up, or he couldn't come on the show. He picked up because what did he tell you, Jordan?
He said, we've got a tornado coming towards us. We've got to hunker down. We can't do it this week.
Coach Stallings, I know you played for the Bear, and you were a pretty tough guy and when you used to coach and win some titles at Alabama. But if a tornado is heading your way, get off the phone with ESPN Pensacola 945. We can become friends off the air. Coach, I am not worth a 15-minute segment, and I hope you all respect the show, but I am not worth sitting here for 10 minutes talking about rosters and making jokes about Army worms for you to get hit by a tornado, take some cover right now. So I'm glad he did. Everything's fine. I called him off the air, and we talked for a while, but they're okay.
Good.
All of his neighbors, he said, whew, we're so awesome. The Lord blessed us. We're fine, but every other neighbor no, he didn't say. Everybody, actually, the tornado missed most of the area. That was the homes and hit a lot of the woods. So that's good news right there. And you never know with the tornadoes. It's not like a hurricane where you see Jim Cantore's in Tornadoville. If it is, we need to start looking at some of those things on those alien shows, because if a guy is popping up letting you know a tornado is about to hit and he's accurate, not like, well, there's some kind of system in the area that's showing clouds that can create this cyclone theory. Yeah, we know that. It's called a storm, and it's some nasty storms have tornado watches and warnings. But if you're popping up and then 2 seconds later, he's waiting for it to hit and it hits. Now, that is some scary stuff. When it comes down to some of the other things going on right now, we talked a little bit about what was happening with the New Orleans Saints. And Drew Brees awarded $6 million. Contract? Bueller? No. $6 million in diamonds. That's right.
Yeah.
Some San Diego, probably, one of those sleaze bags that was trying. You can see, like, the movie of the guy with, like, the pop collar. Like, it's a beautiful 24-karat. Yeah, it's like one of those cubic zirconiums on the side, but he conned him out of about $6 million in what was an investment. He wasn't just buying it because look, people like their bling. Julio Jones lost $1 million in earrings inside a lake last year. That was his theory insurance. But at the same time, Drew Brees was doing it as an investment to buy in diamonds and ship them out. But he actually, the guy conned him into about $6 million less, and today he settled the lawsuit. So pretty good right there. Overall. Apparently, Brent said his home phone accidentally was off the hook.
Okay.
People say that to me when I call. When we come back, we're gonna try them, and let's see if this hook is back on. Hook, line, and sinker. We're coming back for more right here with the Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola 94.5 and on Blab TV.
New Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline is engineered with 4 levels of defense against gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. It's sort of like having ninjas protect your engine. That helps keep your engine running like new. New Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. It's fuel for thought in engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline.
Sizzling summer savings are here at Bob Tyler Toyota with special low Bob Tyler prices on new 2019 RAV4 LE for just $219 a month. New 2019 Camry LE just $179 a month. Or the new 2019 Corolla LE just $134 a month. Bob Tyler has over 10 acres and $4 million worth of pre-owned inventory, including Toyota certified vehicles. Get to Bob Tyler Toyota while the savings are hot. The approved credit, 12,000 mile, 36 month leases, $49.99 cash or trade equity down, excludes tax tag registration, title, 0 security deposit. All prices include $899.50 dealer fees. Dealer for details expires 8/31/19.
Pensacola Beach isn't just a sun-soaked white sand paradise. It's also the best dance floor in 50 states. Every Tuesday night, the stage near the beach ball comes alive with great music you know and love. Bands on the Beach are free shows every Tuesday through October, and they're brought to you by the Santa Rosa Island Authority. Tomorrow, it's the Astronauts with a high-energy celebration and all your favorite party tunes from the 80s, 90s, and beyond. Join us for live music every Tuesday night at 7 for Bands on the Beach.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, CraneWorks. The CraneWorks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give CraneWorks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call CraneWorks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Don't let this summer pass you up. Power it up. In the 5-Hour Energy Power Up Your Summer Sweepstakes, you could win one of 5 amazing experiences. Buy any 5-Hour Energy product, including Cherry Extra Strength. Snap a picture of your receipt and send it in. Because it's about time you had the time of your life. Power up your summer with 5-Hour Energy. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends July 15, 2019. Must be U.S. resident age 18 years or older to enter. For official rules, visit www.5hewin.com. Void where prohibited. Sponsored by Living Essentials, LLC.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola 94.5, and on Blab TV. Chad Brillante, Jordan Glass with you. And joining us now, you can catch him right there on First Coast News in Jacksonville, as well as 1010 XL Radio, Gator Bait Magazine, Florida Gator Podcast Show, College Sports Notebook, and more. Has covered college football in the South for a lot of national titles in the SEC and a lot of coaches. Our good friend, Brent Baird. Brent, what's happening, my friend?
Well, for one, Steve Spurrier has a new restaurant in Gainesville.
Oh, there we go.
2, the latest Phil Steele magazine is out. And 3, quite excited about that World Series about to get cranked up tonight with Vanderbilt in Michigan. So it's been a good day.
Absolutely. I bet Steve is not going to name any part of his memorabilia after a team called the Alliance that fell through even before a season was over.
I think that would probably be a safe bet. Now, I think there will be something on the menu that has UT in it, or that makes fun of FSU too. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think it will. When it comes down to South Carolina, how big is that on the Spurrier meter? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that Florida usually is always going to be ranked number one. He's a Gator at heart. He played for Florida, won a Heisman there. We do a show with Kay Stevenson, Coach Kay Stevenson, former NFL great who played with Coach and had a great NFL career as a coach and player himself. But, Brent, where is like if you had to put the ratio? I say it's about 80-20, but is it closer for the South Carolina-Florida ratio for the old ball coach?
That's probably about right, 80-20. I think the way that it ended is a sore spot with him, and he admits that he made a mistake in how he handled it. But still, give him credit. I mean, he went there and he won, took him to bowl games, and frankly, was one of the better coaches that they've had. It's just a shame that he frankly didn't retire from there a year before he did.
Brent, looking right now at the College World Series, a story of what makes college baseball so great. The March Madness Cinderellas usually end up, they can get to the Final Four, but in my lifetime, I don't remember one really outside of Butler. And Butler had a team of a bunch of guys that were going to the NBA. It wasn't a roster like Sister Jean's Loyola team of 6 foot white guys in a gym looking guys. I mean, just to be honest. But when it comes down to looking at a team in baseball, there have been the Coastal Carolinas that have won it all. There have been the Oregon States and the teams that weren't ranked throughout the course of the year. Michigan was not ranked this season. And then you had the story of Vanderbilt, who was the best team throughout most of the season in the SEC, and a team that has just a dominant pitching staff who was one of the favorites. I picked them out of the 8 teams at the beginning, but I'm not patting myself on the back because they looked that good. What do you think of this series? Because it really is the perfect epitome of what college baseball can represent, is that anybody, if they get hot at the right time, can get that chance.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And Chad, remember, Michigan was one of the last 4 teams going in. Remember that? Along with Florida State. So kudos, no doubt, for all that Michigan has done. I mean, it's amazing, frankly, at that point, first finals appearance since 1962, which is incredible. Think about that. I'm with you. I'm going with Vanderbilt because of the pitching depth, although Michigan, as far as in their pitching, has been very impressive too. And frankly, Vandy has not been on all cylinders yet with their offense. I think their offense is better than we're seeing right now, but it would behoove them to get it going starting tonight.
Yes, and if you're at the game and Cam Newton offers you $1,500 to get up for your seat at the World Series, I would take it. You know, that's he picked the one guy. It's got to be one guy in the plane. Because Brent, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to say we have enough. We're not living paycheck to paycheck, but I definitely would have taken that money easily, and I would even have shot in the vacant spot over there by the coffee pot that can fall on a plane. I would not have cared where I was.
Listen, I don't know anybody who frankly would have turned that down, Chad. Do you? I mean, that's when you get I won't say it's like winning the lottery, but frankly, for a lot of people, it'd have been close.
Yeah, exactly. And he finds the one guy, 1501. This isn't a let's make a deal. But when it comes down to, if you missed that story, Cam Newton offered a guy for pretty much leg room, and he's a big guy, 6'6", but he wanted to spread out and be able to sit, offered a guy $1,500, and the guy passed. I'm okay.
And now my question to you is, would he have written him a check? Would he have Venmo'd the money to him? Or would he have cash on him, Chad?
Yeah.
I think everybody needs to know that, right?
Yeah, just gave him one of the little pieces of his Rolex and that he could cash in and pawn right there. But, the guy, he would have $1,500 in a tomato juice. Am I the only one that drinks tomato juice on a plane? I never drink tomato juice, and I drink tomato juice on a plane.
I could not imagine drinking tomato juice on the plane. Now,
that's the only place I do.
I could see that, I guess, but boy, that would be if you had tomato juice and turbulence, that's not a good combination.
That's right, the attack of the killer tomatoes in your stomach right there. Let's get to some of the things going on right now in college football, though. There was some reports, and I know Feinbaum was talking about this a little while before we got on air, about people are criticizing Alabama's top 10 easiest out-of-conference schedule. That, to me, is... I said earlier, it's like pointing out that a bathroom in a 3-story mansion has bad wallpaper. Like, seriously, we're gonna attack their 4 games out of conference when they play against the juggernauts every single week in schedule, and then when they do play the teams that are the top tier out of their conference, like the Oklahomas, or Ohio States, and Michigans of the world, they beat them. So, you can't do anything about your schedule. They have tried to already contact Texas, West Virginia, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, and these teams got home-and-home series for the future. But, Brent, I just think when I hear those things, it's people not paying attention to the whole big picture.
All that is would be folks that don't have anything to talk about this time of year, and they're going to drag that out. Look, Bama, next year to start the season, Southern Cal, The year after that will be Miami. There's no way in the world, to me, you can criticize Alabama for their openers. They've had some of the tougher openers of anybody in the nation since Saban has got there. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Brent, real quick, because we're actually out because of your beloved jumbo shrimp at 6:05 here. The Wahoos are down there in your neck of the woods, so we actually have to send it over there in about 10 minutes. But I wanted to ask you the question about what was going on with Florida and Urban Meyer. You know, there was obviously some arrests. You covered him there, but they won 2 national titles, and he's one heck of a coach when it comes to X's and O's and recruiting. However, Zach Smith comes out with that just, hey, I know somebody in the U.S. Postal Office that gave me this information. I think that's a federal offense. But then the next thing was he said that Urban Meyer is headed to USC. I'd bet $1,000 on it. Is this a guy that is a lowlife that has obviously lost his credibility for domestic abuse and the clownery that he has had, and now he's just trying to get back in the attention? Or how much credibility is there? Because if it's just from us putting our where in the world could Urban Meyer be next, USC makes probably perfect sense because Clay Helton's probably out of a job unless he wins 10 games this year. What do you make of the story of Zach Smith throwing that out there?
Well, it's hard to give Zach Smith credibility for anything, but the reality is that's one of the more logical things that's going on, and certainly I think the evidence is getting together because a lot of the Southern Cal famous alumni are talking this up. So, frankly, I think there's something to that, and I think the other reality for it is, too, is the fact of he'll be doing the Fox broadcast. That's coming from L.A., so at least what's happening there, Zach Smith or not, would be pretty logical.
I got to read this real quick from Jeffrey D. You know, he sat in here with us, Jeff Davis, our resident sports guru. He said, the guy in the plane was upset that he got offered less than 1% of what Cam's dad got from Auburn.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that would agree with you on that, Chad.
That's a good one. I had to share that. He just got that in, that was very good right there. Good math too. He's a banker, so he can get those out there. But yes, that is hilarious right there. Brent, before we let you go, what happened this week with the situation with Holloman and what's going on at Georgia? Because they lost their top 3 receivers to the NFL draft as underclassmen. Some thought guys like Nada and some of the guys like Hardman would come back. They did not. But what happened at Georgia to get him kicked off? And at this point, it doesn't look like he's coming back.
No, it doesn't. And you've got a situation, even though it took a year basically to work through this, again, this would be violence toward women, and that we'll use that as alleged, but that certainly is what the story's about. And at this point, he's gone. But again, I mean, they're bringing in guys, frankly, that I still think probably are better overall and more talented than he is. And maybe even some of these freshmen. I mean, Demetrius Robinson is coming back. He's not a freshman, but Tyler Simmons is a guy that they can use. But George Pickens and Dominic Blaylock, who I understand is a relative of Mookie Blaylock, will be as real possibilities. I think they will be fine. I mean, but someone had to be the leading returning receiver. And it was Holloman, but I'll say this, Chad. I don't think it's like losing Jerry Jeudy and losing Holloman.
No. And if you put this in quick terms for everybody out there, he was the 4th guy and the top returning receiver. But here's the deal. Remember, Justin Ross and Jerry Jeudy were the top 2 guys as true freshmen for the best team. So no reason another guy couldn't step in. Hey, Brent, we got to send it to the Wahoos and Jumbo Shrimp. Have a great rest of your night.
You too, brother.
Appreciate it. Coming up, Blue Wahoos baseball, 6:05 first pitch. Let's get back in the win column here with a big win right here on ESPN Pensacola 94.5. Chad Jordan signing out. Have a great rest of your night, and God bless.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5.